This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the black point of view.
Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, we've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black America first. Yeah, Black America first. Fix the house, fix the fam, let the blessings burst. Own the land, own the plan, put the people. Got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today. Rep the movement. Get your official Black Westchester merch today. Hoodies, tees, and more at blackwestchestermerch.shop. Wear your voice, make a statement. Damon K. Jones exposes the lies and challenges the gatekeepers in black politics in his powerful book, Emotional Politics and Logical Failure. Black America needs fewer emotions and more outcomes. Our communities deserve better. On sale now, get the book or audiobook on Amazon, From the Streets of Westchester to the Heart of Hip Hop. Discover AJ Woodson's powerful collection. Black Westchester, the origin story. We got our own thing. Hip hop from the 9, 1, 4, and Black Westchester celebrate Black women of Westchester. Available now at blackwestchester.com and on Amazon. Get your copies today. Tolerance is for Cowards by Damon K. Jones. This book is not anti-police, it's pro-community. Discover how the extended policing strategy empowers you to demand real public safety, justice, and accountability from your local police department. Because the black community deserves good policing. On sale now on Amazon and Audible. Discover Jesus and Divine Black Masculinity by Damon K. Jones. This a bold blueprint to restore faith, manhood, and purpose in Black America. Because the black community needs good black men. Available now on Amazon. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and share it with others who need to hear the truth. And for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access, join the Black Westchester Magazine YouTube membership club today. Your support helps us keep independent black media strong. Big thank you for the super chat support. We appreciate your help in keeping the conversation and independent black media strong. Black Westchester, it's the news with the black point of view. It's Blacktastic.
Peace and blessings, everybody. What's happening?
What's up? What's up?
What's happening? What was happening? Welcome to the Black Westchester People Before Politics Sunday Rundown, and we got a great show for you today. We getting the double claps. You know, we got the double claps. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We got a great show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. First, we want to talk about something that a lot of people have been hitting us up about. I don't know why my side thing is not scrolling up and down. It's not good. This is really not good what I need to do here. So what's up, AJ? What's going on, man? I'm trying to get this. I don't know why my screen is doing what it's doing.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what your screen was doing. What's up? What's up? What's up? Shout out to Melvina M. Freeman. Good evening.
Yes.
She said good evening. Yes.
Evening. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, my side is stuck. I can't. You gotta be kidding me. Really? Not right now. Well, go ahead, talk, man. I'm trying to fix this.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I'm back. I'm back in town. I'm back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You was on the world tour with Muhammad, my man.
Yo, it's funny. Who sang that to me? Andre Wallace walked up to me the other night singing that. He was like, yo, we even lost Damon. Down goes Damon. Down goes Damon. Okay, he's back. He's coming back. Yeah. We was over and we did a hip hop festival in the Netherlands, in Helmans, the Netherlands, with Nice and Smooth and Cash Money and Marvelous and Coca Rock, the first MC that used to rock with Kool Herc back in the days, and a bunch of other people. And then we did the show in London, and it was great, because we hadn't really taken the stage together since 1992, and a lot of people wanted to know if we could still do it. I think I might have had to even prove to myself that I could still do it. And you can follow us on social media and you can see from the videos we really rocked out, man. They gave us so much love. It's amazing.
Yeah. It looked crazy, bro. It really looked good. The crowd looked crazy. It was very impressive, man. Very.
And it all started off with Ralph McDaniels in August with the video music box experience, and we rocked out with Rakim, Drez, Jeff Red, Fonda Ray, and a bunch of other people in front of like 12,000 plus in Nassau County. Joe, that was amazing too. That was just huge. But it was good because gave us a chance to get some hometown love before hitting the stage overseas. So when we stepped on that stage, it wasn't our first time together in all them years.
Right.
We got some hometown love. You got that first one out the way real quick. So, man, I could talk all day about it. It was amazing. I'm still, trying to, follow everything on social media and plan for next year. Next year should be a good year. A lot of promoters and everything's talking. It's basically the bottom line is we put the world on notice. JVC Force is back open for business, and that's it.
No, that's what's up.
Word up.
That is what's up. That is what's up.
It's always good to get out of the country, not just out of your town, but out of the country. I'm gonna tell you, I have a different perspective on a couple of things. You're gonna look at me crazy because I'm like, yo. So it's some of the stuff that I hear people talk about just ain't that important no more. Like it's just they put things in perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's I talk about it in one of my books, man, that is so important for young men and young women, but since I'm a man, and the book is about young men teaching young men, it's so important to be able to travel. And oh, can you hear me? Shit. It's so important for people to be able to travel, because to see how other communities and other lifestyles live. And I think that was my blessing as a young man when I was early on in the National Black Police Association, right? I was able to travel. I was able to conversate with actually Black cops in Ireland, right? I was able to go to Connecticut. I was able to go to the United Kingdom, right? For conferences and meet Black officers from all over the country. It flipped me out when I went to England and the president of the National Black Police Association was Iranian, right? So when you see when you see that and you actually meet, to meet Black cops from Ireland was insane. You know, you looking at a black person and they're talking, you're like, yo, dude, where's this dude from? He sounds like he's out. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go, hey man, what's happening, man? I'm Damon Jones, Northeastern Region President, you know, United States. And he's like, yo, I'm from Ireland. Word? You from Ireland? And to find out that black people going through the same, ain't nothing new under the sun. The same thing black officers are going through in New York, black officers in Ireland are going through. Black officers in the United Kingdom are going through. Black officers in Canada are going through the same thing, you know, and that's why it's so important to travel and to see things, because it really, really, really educates you on life. It really educates you on culture, you know, and it saddens me a lot of times when I see black brothers get felonies. Because once you get a felony, you ain't getting a passport. You're not getting a passport. So your sisters, when
I get a passport if you have a felony?
No.
Okay.
You can't get a passport till you have a felony, because Dad's had to get his expunged and everything before he was able to get his passport.
Good evening.
Once you're a felony, you basically a slave. If you read how the Constitution reads, when you become a felon, you're basically put back to a slave. And because we decide we don't want to read, we talk about democracy, but we don't read what gives us democracy. The Constitution of the United States. Exactly. The 13th Amendment. Absolutely. And actually, we don't live in the democracy, we live in a republic. We don't, when we say our pledge of allegiance, what do we say? Pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands. So we're not in a democracy. We are actually in a republic. And the pledge of allegiance reminds us every time we are in a republic.
I don't know when the last time I said the pledge of allegiance.
You know, same here, right? It's important for us to travel, and the fastest growing group of Americans residing overseas is Black Americans outside of the military. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of artists used to go to France, UK, James Baldwin. You could go down the names of all the people who left the United States to go to these different countries, you know.
It's a whole different, I mean, in my experience too, but it's the same thing when you see those documentaries of Nina Simone and all them singers and stuff from back in the days. Yeah, there's a different level of love over there. Like, you know,
absolutely.
One of the things that amazed me the most when we first went over there in '88 in Germany, the crowd knew the words to the song word for word. And then when we went to interact with them, like, they knew very little English, just like the lyrics of the song and a few things they seen on TV, but they knew very little English, but knew your song word for word. And that like blew me away. Like, and it's amazing. And they, you know, the festival we went is a hip hop culture, a hip hop festival, and it pays respect to all the elements of hip hop. And people come from all over the country, man. You know, Damon, people was coming from Oslo, Norway, and Australia, and all kinds of stuff, you know, to see these joints. And we even had people who was in London, dude we knew who lives in Chicago now. Him and his people came from Chicago to London just to see the show. They flew. And we had a bunch of people from New York. Shout out to everybody who rolled with us too. So it's a whole nother appreciation, and it makes you, you know, it's a different. I understand why some people move over there, you know, and they stay over there. You know, you can continually work no matter what's going on over here. You know, so
absolutely, man, because we have it is, yo, what happened to all my presentation.
I don't know. Your voice is a little lower than it was too. I don't know if that was.
Yeah, because I turned it down, so I'm trying to
Okay.
get that D'Angelo Ace Frehley thing done while we're talking.
I know we probably talk about it later, but that messed me up too. The announcement of D'Angelo kind of messed me up. But we'll talk about. I'm sure we're talking about that later.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, you know. And then while I was writing the D'Angelo piece,
yes,
what?
No, somebody said, "Would I consider touring to parts of New York State?" Basically, wherever they're paying, we'll be there. So not just overseas. Like we plan on doing a lot of stuff. It's talking to a lot of promoters.
Hey, listen,
so
man.
wherever
Dude, if they're cutting the check, AJ's there. So get the check.
What Grand Poopa say? If you got the dough, then you're gonna see the bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So, cut the check and he coming to perform. But like I said, I was writing the D'Angelo piece, and I saw that Ace Frehley died. To me, one of the dopest guitarists that was out, and one of the most controversial groups, used to spit blood and all that crazy stuff on the stage. And, as someone who owned a studio and sampled music, some of his guitar riffs was insane. And I didn't have the money to, we used to make beats, but some of the guitar riffs that was on some of them KISS albums, because when you make music, you pull from wherever you can pull, if you got an idea to try to be creative. And I always thought a lot of the riffs was insane, plus the impact of KISS on the music genre. A lot of Black people ain't listen to KISS, but dealing with music, I did. And some of the words was crazy. So I decided to write the ad, Ace Frehley, to the article, because I felt like they was two sides of the same coin. Because D'Angelo's actual music, man, when he came out, he twisted the music industry. At that time, man, I really think he brought it back to real instruments and real sounds, which made him.
This week, the music world lost two legends.
Which made him very different, though.
I want to shout out.
And
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish.
I just want to say
Allow
one
me to do
thing.
what I'm doing.
I shout out to Michael Archer Jr., his son. All goes out to him. He lost both his parents in a matter of months, because Angie Stone passed, his mom, and now D'Angelo passed. So
yeah,
I know that whole thing of losing your parents, and and he lost them like back to back, like so I just want to, when y'all putting all prayers out for his family, put thoughts and prayers out to the son. Like I said, he lost both his parents back to back. And I saw one or two people mention that, but I don't see a lot of people talking about that. So I wanted to, put that perspective on things,
two legends.
Yeah.
So yeah.
R&B icon D'Angelo.
Shout out to Kemi Poe. You are muted, Damon.
Passed away at 51.
What is going on?
Oh no, you keep playing musical.
Just 2 days later, Ace Frehley, the original lead guitarist and co-founder of KISS, died at 74 from complications after a fall. D'Angelo changed R&B with honesty, groove, and depth. His music spoke to the soul. Ace Frehley electrified rock with his spaceman persona and unforgettable guitar solos that defined Kiss's legacy. Two different genres, one shared truth. Both men lived their art with passion, freedom, and authenticity. This week, we didn't just lose two artists, we lost two eras of music.
That's it. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to get this thing working right, but it seems like it just doesn't want to work today. So let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. We gave our condolences to art legends, and I know some people are watching because they saw what the hell happened in Mount Vernon.
That was funny because I was at the shout to the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus. I was at their, annual 49th annual cocktail reception thing while this was going on, with several of Mount Vernon officials sitting at the table across from me while this was going on. And when I found out, I was like, whoa, what? Yeah. So I was like, crazy. I'm going to let Damon tell you what happened. I'm like,
7:40 p.m. on October 16th near West Lincoln Avenue and Oak Street in the city of Mount Vernon. At this time of the incident, 5 prisoners, all remanded to the Westchester County Jail, were being transported by 2 uniformed Mount Vernon police officers seated in the front of the vehicle. The officers reported hearing a single gunshot from the rear of the van, followed by a prisoner stating that he had been shot. The officers immediately returned to police headquarters, where additional department personnel assisted in safely offloading the prisoners. During the process, a .22 caliber Rome RGT revolver was recovered from one of the prisoners. The weapon had 1 spent round and 4 live rounds remaining. The firearm has not been reported stolen, and a full firearm trace is underway. The injured prisoner, who had been remanded on an open case, sustained a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to his lower leg. He was transported to a local hospital where he remains under medical care. As he is a victim in this incident, no further information will be released regarding his identity. The alleged shooter has been identified as Louis Soto, 32, of the Bronx. Soto, who has no significant prior criminal history, has been remanded to the Westchester County Jail on a forcible touching charge stemming from an arrest on October 15th. In connection with this incident, Soto will face additional charges, including criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree, assault in the 1st degree, reckless endangerment, and reckless endangerment. The department is conducting a full review of the circumstances surrounding this event, including relevant policies, procedures, and training. Preliminarily, findings indicate that the firearm should have been detected prior to the transport. Effective immediately, the use of the department's magnetometer handheld wand is now mandatory for all new prisoner processings. The use of it was optional previously. Additionally, all prisoners will be scanned with a handheld wand, magnetometer, both when entering and leaving the cell block to ensure the safety of officers and detainees. This will include prisoners coming in from and going to the county jail and other jails. Some of the officers involved have been temporarily assigned to desk duty pending completion of the investigation. They are not suspended or modified at this time. That does not mean that any officers have been cleared. Charges and modifications may be forthcoming, and the names of the officers are being withheld as the investigation remains active. That completes the conclusion of our statement.
How many officers on the test?
Right now we have 2. That could change.
Are they the officers in the van, or was somebody else responsible for searching the prison?
There's one officer that was in the van and one officer that had a different responsibility.
Did you find any additional contraband on Mr. Soto?
We're not going to discuss that at this time.
Did he hide the gun in his underwear?
That's under investigation. We'll be forthcoming with more information as that information makes itself available to us.
Certain policies change after the interaction with the DOJ that was announced in 2024?
Our search policies, yes, changed. Our strip search policy changed.
Can you describe what's changed?
That's previous to that.
In what way, in which case, the gun might have been detected before under the old policy?
Say that
In what way have they changed? In other words, would the gun have been detected more likely under the old policy?
I'm not going to speculate on that at this point.
What about in what way?
That wouldn't be speculation.
Deputy Chief?
You're asking about the policy change. The old policy and the new policy should have gone and caught the gun.
But it did.
So how do you characterize what happened here? Because a lot of people are saying this could have been a really bad thing, putting the public, the prisoners, and your police officers at risk.
This is a very serious incident. We take this very seriously. Like I said, it will be investigated, and nobody's been cleared from this incident.
Is there any indication whether the person was shot in the leg? Is there any indication whether or not the gun was fired intentionally or whether it went off accidentally?
That's under investigation at this point.
Are prisoners not handcuffed when they're transported?
No, they are handcuffed.
That's a good question because I wanted to know that.
Mr. Soto had the weapon on at the time of arrest, his whole time while he was in custody, arraigned, remanded.
I'd be speculating. I can only say that he was found to have it. We know that it was on him at the time he was placed in the prisoner van, and it should have been detected.
He appeared in court yesterday?
Yes.
Is there any responsibility of the state court officers in terms of once the prisoner is in court custody to be searching for him?
You'd have to ask them what their policy is. I'm not aware of any. We maintain security in the cell block.
And so would he have been searched prior to being booked at the county jail? Would he have been searched again at the county jail? Do you know?
You'd have to clarify that with them, but yes, he should have been.
Was the correct procedure followed? In other words, a gunshot went off in the van. Is there any question in terms of whether the police officers did the right thing coming back to headquarters at that point?
They absolutely did the right thing.
Was there any damage to the van?
I'm not aware of any damage to the van.
And Mr. Soto still had the gun in his possession when they came back to headquarters and checked out the prison?
We're not going to discuss part of the investigation, but he's been charged with a crime.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
All right. Go ahead, AJ.
So again, and yes, Kemi, she was like, I didn't know it was the same time. Yeah, while we were at the Westchester Black Political Caucus, I saw her there. My phone was starting to blow up. And I eventually went outside right around the time after the mayor talked, before y'all started dancing. I went outside and to start answering calls because it was like I was just getting texts and calls over and over. And that's when I was told. And at that time, it was like it had just happened 45 minutes ago, according to the people that were calling me. So, yeah, it was while we were at the event. I have a lot of questions. Black Westchester didn't independently do a story on it. So I didn't really get a chance to really talk to nobody. I know I have sources and things I haven't confirmed independently myself. But what I was told was the individual was arrested. He was patted down, but he had this gun lodged inside him, and they didn't detect it. Then he went to court, like for his little arraignment thing, and he had it on him when he was in court, and then back to jail, and then he was in the van to be transported to Valhalla to the county jail. And it's funny because one of the reporters asked, and I never asked you, Damon, just from a law enforcement perspective. It's funny because I wanted to ask, you handcuff suspects are usually handcuffed when they're in the van being transported to the county jail. And if you're handcuffed, where I'm told he had the gun, and if you're handcuffed in front of you, I'm not sure how the dynamics are, how you get this gun out and you start shooting people. Evidently, it happened, but I'm not quite clear on all of that. And they're not saying much, but I just don't understand. There's a lot of questions I have about this right now.
Yeah. Well,
you can answer one question. There was a question that a reporter said, would he have been searched when he got to the county jail?
Yeah, I'm gonna let's start off with that, right? And full disclosure for people that's watching, my wife is a detective in the department. Now,
Mount Vernon Police Department, yeah.
Mount Vernon Police Department. But I am a publisher of a newspaper. So it is incumbent on us to discuss it. I don't know anything else but from what the news is saying, because I want to keep it that way. I want to keep a firewall from what the news is saying. So my response is to what the chief says. Have a lot of respect for a lot of officers there in Mount Vernon Police Department. And I've met a lot of the new officers there at Mount Vernon Police Department. But I technically say with someone who has worked 33 years in law enforcement, who has wrote 2 reports that went to the United Nations on racism and policy and law enforcement, to the Geneva Convention. I did 2. And have advised the NAACP Legal Defense Fund on policies, procedures, and contract negotiations between unions and municipalities. It is my job to have a discussion about this issue with due respect to everybody that's involved. So I don't want to hear, don't go to my wife, don't say, well, your husband said this and that. I'm speaking from the fact of what the chief said. Never had any problem with the chief, but I do have a lot of problems. I do have a lot of problems with what they talked about with policy, because this could have been worse than what it is. And I'm keeping it 100. I'm a husband of a detective. And I've seen a couple of incidents that happened at the police department that could have put my wife in danger. So if anybody get upset about what I'm saying, you just have to get upset about what I'm saying, and don't go to my wife, come to me. Many people have my number. So that being said, let's start off. AJ, you talked about the county jail. He would have got caught in the county jail, right? I worked in receiving for 6 years at the county jail. And for all y'all don't know, I'm a retired correctional officer. So when you come into for 33 years, when you come into the county jail, you get strip searched, because you have to take off your civilian clothes, and we have to give you the jail oranges. And in the process of that, you have to go in a cubicle, you have to take your clothes off, you have to give us each item that you take off, and we search each item that you take off, and we put it in a property bag. Now, and when you become butt naked, standing in front of 2 officers, maybe 4, depending on how you run in your mouth when you come in, you have to raise your arms. We have to see if anything is under your armpits. You have to open up your mouth wide out, stick out your tongue, put it up, open it up so we can see everything that's in your mouth. You have to turn around. You have to show us the bottom of your feet so we know you ain't trying to hide nothing under. This is how it goes. Then you got to lift your ball sack and squat and spread your cheeks. And you have grown men looking in a man's behind to see if he's hiding anything in there. And then if we feel that you're hiding something in your body, we have the same machine that you have in the airport, where you stand there with your hands up and the machine scans you. And then it gives a whole picture of your body if any foreign objects is in your body. That's why he knew he wasn't going to have that up in the jail, because we would have found it in the county jail. And if we would have found it, he would have had a hard time. Period. It would have been a rough day, especially if I was working there. He would have had a rough day. And then he would got charged. Now, that being said, I have questions about the policy. In my 33 years in law enforcement, how is there no wand there? And how is there no metal detector when you walk into the cell block? There should be a metal detector when you walk into the cell block, especially when someone comes off the street. You allow them to walk into the cell block.
Wait. I have to go through that metal detector before I go to court upstairs. That what you talking about? I got to go through a metal detector before I go through the court upstairs in the same building.
Well, no. What we don't know, see, what the chief said is that the lockup is responsible for the security. So when we do it at the county jail, you don't see the inmate. He comes up on an elevator and then he's let into court, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know how that works. I've never been down in lockup. I don't know how they take them up, but they should be able to take them up out of lockup. Mm-hmm. So if he went into lockup with the gun, there's a 99.999% chance when he saw the judge, he still had the gun on him. If the police department, according to the chief, I'm not saying anything, I'm going by what the chief said. So nobody go run into my wife talking about what she said or anything. I'm going by everything what the chief said. So if they're in charge, then he had the gun then. 9 times out of 10, 99.9999%, he had the gun when he was in front of the judge. Because how are you going to explain he went to the judge, got rid of the gun, then got the gun back?
That could have been a whole other problem.
To go into the car, I hope that's not the scenario. Okay, so we got that. Now, when it comes to the policy, the chief said that they're adding the wand to the policy now. That day. So why wasn't there no wand in the policy before? Even though you might have had the DOJ report, which the DOJ was specifically addressing people being strip searched who were detained. Right? If you remember the case, AJ, with the 2 ladies, they wasn't arrested, they were detained.
Right.
So if that was the case, if you arrest someone, you don't search them. You could still do a body. Let me tell you, you could still, because we did it all the time in the jail, right in the hallway. You could still do a pat down, and the person could still have their clothes on. You could still find a gun, because I've found weapons. So there's a process, because we got to talk about it. When you search somebody and you hit the leg, boom, 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 hit that leg, you hit this leg, you run your fingers within the waistband. and you shake it. And you shake it. You shake the waistband. Now, gun might have fall out then, or you do behind the arm, you go up the groin and up the ass crack, and you're feeling with the back of your hand. We did that. That's not violating nobody. Because you're not open palming, you're going underneath. And if you feel some type of metal, wait a minute, and then you hit them with the wand. Or you hit them with the wand before, the wand's gonna go off. If you had a wand, you ain't have a wand because you just start using the wand. This is a lockup, ladies and gentlemen, with no metal detector. That's crazy.
That's what I said. I go through a stricter search going to court than this guy did.
You go through a stricter search going to a club. They got metal detectors at the high school. How do you not have a metal detector down in your lockup?
Yes, you do have metal detectors at the high school. You got to go through. Yeah.
And I'm not badgering nobody, but this situation could have got worse than what it was.
We're asking the questions.
And the fact that the mayor, yes, the mayor, and she should have been there. You was just shaking your behind at the party the night before. And whatever you had to do the next day, you should have been there.
You mean the press conference?
Yes.
Okay, no, just to be clear, this happened while the incident happened while we were at the thing. So
exactly, and she was shaking her behind there, doing the country whatever. She should have been at that press conference. Not only the mayor should have been at that press conference, the city council people should have been at that press conference. Whoever's over public safety should have been at that press conference. It is a shame to the chief to let the chief face the press alone. Now I'm sticking up for the chief. He shouldn't have been there by himself. Addison shouldn't have been there by himself because the buck stops with the mayor. So, I mean, y'all can like what I said or you don't like what I said, but that's the truth. We're talking leadership. Someone got shot inside of a city police van, and not one elected official showed up to the press conference. You get the government you vote for. Period. How do we continue to allow this nonsense to continue to go on? I wanted to say something else, but this nonsense.
Yeah, yo. So
no, I'm not finished.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the officers can be charged with anything because they got to be charged with policies that they didn't adhere to. What policies did they didn't adhere to? If you had no real search policies. Huh? You got to violate a policy to be brought up on charges. So what charges are they going to be brought up on? When your search policies is unclear and not precise, and you didn't even have a wand or a metal detector to detect metal.
I thought he said it was optional.
It should never be optional. It should be some type of metal detection machine. Or teach officers how to do proper searches. That's why I've always said in the police academy of Westchester County, they need to do 2 to 4 weeks in the county jail before they go to the police department because they have to learn these things.
That should be part of their training, you're saying?
It should be part of their training. And it was part of the recommendations that we made. And George Lattimore never put it to effect in the county jail. So that's another question we got.
You were on the advisory board.
I was on the advisory board. Actually, I made the recommendation, and at that time, it was backed by Terrence Rainey. He said it was a good idea, but he still has a boss. And that should be part of it. They need to go, they do it down in Miami-Dade with their sheriff's department. And the fact of the matter is, with their sheriff's department, you got to do 2 years in the county jail before you go to the street. So the recommendation is, in the police academy, make them do 2 weeks on-the-job training in the jail, so they can learn how to actually properly search somebody, because your life depends on it in there. Your life depends on it any place in law enforcement to do proper searches. And here's another thing, young officers that might be watching. You don't take custody over from nobody without searching them. No matter what the officer says, you search them yourself. It's been many times someone hand them over to me. I searched them myself. I'm talking about a pat down. What I just explained. I'm gonna go under the arms. I'm gonna go under the breastplate. I'm gonna go in his waist. I'm gonna shake the hell out of his pants. I'm gonna check his shoes, because he becomes my responsibility once you take that person over in your custody. So any officer that is listening, you take someone over in your custody, you search them yourself. Because it easily could have been an officer that was shot.
Or the judge.
Or the judge. Or the judge. This is very, very serious. And it's very disappointing that there was no elected official there at that press conference. You shouldn't allow the chief to do that by himself. Because let me tell you, Jessie Van Loo has been asking the mayor herself, what was the policy changes? Nobody want to say what the policy changes was? Well, clearly after this, the policies didn't work. And I'm not knocking anybody. But when you have the community asking the mayor, asking the city council, after the DOJ report, what other policy changes? And Jessie never got an answer.
Yeah, neither did I'm vice president of the Mount Vernon NAACP. We've been trying to set up a meeting. I think I'm going to insist on demand a meeting now again, because we wanted to talk about, I'm also over criminal justice, the Criminal Justice Committee. We definitely wanted to talk about, the DOJ's findings and what changes they made, if any, since the DOJ report came out. And definitely this is time again for us to insist on or demand a meeting. So I will be doing that. I'll be with my president, and we'll be reaching out this week to set up.
And I will also advise the NAACP to write a letter to the Southern District of New York with this incident to prove that there needs to be someone over to make sure that these policies are correct. Now, what the Trump administration did, ladies and gentlemen, which was detrimental to communities, that all the consent decrees in all the police departments, they wiped away. So the actual oversight of the police department, there wasn't no oversight to police departments that needed oversight. And I had this conversation at the NAACP meeting. And it's still up to the people to demand accountability and transparency in what they were doing. And I'm not knocking anybody. I just want to make sure everybody's safe. Everybody should be safe, because the situation could have got worse than what it was.
And my sources, again, I haven't had a chance to independently corroborate anything, but my sources told me that the individual would have shot a lot more people if the gun hadn't jammed. And I have to look into that independently as Black Westchester, but that is what a source told me.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, if the gun
actually, two sources told me that, to be honest. Yes.
Well,
good evening,
listen,
Sister Dawn Seawright. Good evening.
What's up, sis? Love you, sis. You know, and that's crazy. And that's insane. But I mean, listen, Mount Vernon, y'all get the government you vote for.
I was to say, elections have consequences.
And I'm very hurt that there was no elected officials there to back up to back up the police department. How you gonna leave the chief out there by himself?
I covered a lot of press conferences in this 11 years that we've done that had to do with police criminality, misconduct of the police and everything. Ernie was always at all of them. Sometimes he was the only one who spoke, but he was there to address it. Richard Thomas, like him or not, Richard Thomas was always at those press conferences. And I'm only going by the time that we've been doing Black Westchester, that these mayors were there and other people were there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We already at the we talked about this, man. I didn't even get to talk. So listen, that's it. I just want to. I see one of the brothers.
We're gonna follow up.
How many people you got coming on from the for the?
Yo, Grant, you got one more person coming? Give me a nod. One more person. There's just you. What's that mean? You're not sure? Okay. We're gonna
take 5 more minutes.
Yeah, but I want to talk about this. But we're going to be getting into this a little bit more right now. This has just come upon us. We haven't really independently corroborated anything. So now there's a lot of questions, and this is the first time we actually had to address this. So we're addressing it, and I'm glad Damon brought the perspective. And I wanted you to do that, from working at the county. What is this? Mount Vernon.
I got it. Just keep talking.
Okay. So I wanted Damon to speak to that policy. And one of the reporters asked that about the transfer to the county and how the county handles things. And I think that was very good. And your perspective from a law enforcement perspective, I think was very important. And again, the chief there was a press conference, the chief spoke, we played it for you. And if you missed it in this conversation, when this is over, go back to the beginning of the video. We played it for you so you can see what we're talking about. We're responding to what the chief actually said. We still have a lot of questions and we'll be looking further into this.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I took this long because there's other subjects I wanted to talk about. I really wanted to address tonight. And maybe we're going to talk to the brother, and maybe if we have time, we could talk about it with the brother, because there's two things, you know, especially with the Million Man March and where we need to be today from where we was 30 years ago. I was 27. And when I went to the Million Man March, and now I'm a grown man, and what I see from what I felt when I left there, and from what Black communities were trying to do after the march, and see how it was systematically taken away because they didn't want that. We have a lot of things to talk about around this march and what it meant for Black men and what it meant for Black families and Black children. Listen, after that march, adoptions rose for young Black children. And then we got systematically taken out with a culture because they couldn't have Black men strong like that. So I just want to play something, and then we're going to get into the brother. Here we go.
Years ago, I stood on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. I was 27 years old, surrounded by a sea of Black men, nearly 2 million strong, who had come from every corner of the country. I remember brothers greeting each other like long-lost family, hugging, smiling, sharing prayers and stories. For the first time in my life, I truly saw what freedom could look like. Not the kind the government grants, but the kind that comes from our unity, love, and accountability among our own. We were not just a crowd, but a brotherhood, a community united in purpose and spirit. It was a day of unity, not just for men, but for our entire community. The media said 1 million, but those of us who stood shoulder to shoulder know better. It was closer to 2 million strong individuals. The air that day was thick with purpose, not protest. We didn't come to beg for handouts or chant for change. We came to stand before God, before our families, and before one another to take responsibility for our lives, our homes, and our communities. That was the true meaning of the Million Man March, atonement and reconciliation. A day that changed the image of the Black man. That day, the world witnessed something powerful and unprecedented. Millions of disciplined, peaceful, prayerful Black men united under one mission. There were no fights, no arrests, no chaos, just dignity. It shattered every stereotype that America had built around us. For one day, the world saw our strength, not our struggle. They saw organization rather than outrage, leadership rather than lawlessness, and love rather than fear. The numbers may still be debated, but the impact cannot be. It wasn't just a march, it was a spiritual movement. Every man who was there left differently. We walked in with burdens and walked out with a renewed sense of purpose, a rekindled spirit of brotherhood, and a commitment to personal and collective growth. The Million Man March was not just a moment in history, but a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope for our future. What the march really meant. The Million Man March wasn't about politics. It was about personal transformation. Minister Louis Farrakhan and Dr. Benjamin Chavis called for a day of spiritual renewal, to reconcile with our families, to restore our faith, and to rebuild our communities. Every man was challenged to make a personal pledge, to be a better father, a better husband, a better brother, and a better man. It was a call to repair what had been broken, our self-image, our leadership, and our unity. That message is timeless, and today it's needed more than ever. Atonement and reconciliation. Then and now, 30 years later, our communities still cry out for that same healing. Too many of our young men are lost to violence. Too many homes are fatherless, and too many leaders chase fame instead of faith. The spirit of accountability that filled the mall that day has been replaced by finger pointing and division, but we cannot lose hope. We must remember the unity and purpose of that day and continue to work towards healing and reconciliation. Atonement means more than saying we're sorry. It means changing direction. Reconciliation means healing what's been divided. We have to atone for how we've allowed distractions, politics, and systems to pull us apart. And we must reconcile the gap between who we say we are and how we actually live. The family is still the foundation. The strength of any nation begins at home. The Million Man March was a call to rebuild the Black family, to remind men to be present, protective, and principled, guarding the women and children who carry our future. 30 years later, that message is more urgent than ever. No government program can fix what only love, faith, and discipline can restore. But we must ask ourselves what happened. We left that mall with a mission, but today nearly 80% of Black children are born outside of marriage. That wasn't the promise we made. Somewhere between that moment of unity and this generation, the meaning of our oath was lost. It's time to restore it, to remind our sons and daughters what we stood for, and to rebuild the family as the foundation of our freedom. Why we must remember commemorating the Million Man. March isn't about nostalgia, it's about revival. The same unity that filled Washington, D.C. That day can fill our communities again if we choose to stand on the same principles. Faith, discipline, and love for our people. That day proved what's possible when we come together with purpose. The question now is, do we still believe in that purpose? A call to action, this anniversary should not pass quietly. Every Black man should pause and reflect. Have I kept the promise I made that day? Have I mentored a young brother, reconciled with my family, or poured back into my community? The Million Man March was never just about one day. It was about the life we built afterward. We don't need another march on Washington. We need a march through our neighborhoods, our schools, our homes, and our heart. Closing thought. I was 27 years old when I stood in that crowd and felt the power of brotherhood, love, and unity. I saw a glimpse of the freedom our ancestors dreamed of, and I still believe in it. We can reclaim that spirit if we remember the vow we made to be men of God, men of vision, men of accountability. As we honor this 30th anniversary, let's recommit to that promise. Because the Million Man March wasn't the end of a journey, it was the beginning of one. And that journey must continue until our families are whole, our communities are strong, and our people are truly free. The message of the Million Man March is not a relic of the past, but a guiding light for our present and future. It's up to us to carry that torch forward.
Yo, that was powerful, my
So
brother.
I'm get ready to add the brother in. Hold on a second.
So this brother right here that's about to come on, Damon, I first met him in the early 2000s. He was an independent rapper, a dope rapper out of Philly. Even back then, he wasn't rapping about blunts and hoes and all those things like he was rapping with a purpose back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not surprised that he's involved in this movement and the things that he's doing now, because you could see that sense of purpose even when he was a young, upcoming independent MC. He went by the name Grand Agent at the time. I'm not sure. His thing says Philly Truth, so I'll let him introduce himself. But Joe, I've known this brother for a while, and he, like I said, you always knew that sense of purpose that he had in it, and that's what made him stand out, and that's why I'm proud to call him my brother.
That's right. That's right.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Hey Jay, what up?
What's up, man? What's up?
So yeah, so Grand Agent still works. You know what I mean? I still do that. It's part-time now, but so people around town know me as my Z. So I use my legal name. Philly Truce is coming up on 5 years old. I didn't want to cloud the vision or people think I'm trying to do something to further my rap career or whatever. But
right.
So Philly Truce is the organization I co-founded with a good brother of mine. that I went to high school with, go by the name of Steve Pickens, 22-year veteran of the fire department here in Philly. And basically what happened, Grand Agent Director. And so I was living out of town. I was living up in North Jersey, came home and ran into my bro, and this was 2020. Homicides were skyrocketing, and we had a flashback, another 30-year flashback. When we was in 10th grade, it was 1990. It was also a big thing. 500 homicides, crack era, yada yada. So we watching this movie play out again, and we just determined now, we middle-aged men, we ain't 15, 16. It got to be something we can do to get involved, and that started trajectory of what kind of led me here today. Yep.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, AJ, for making it happen.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yo, there's brothers like this, even when we were working together in hip hop, that I'm always proud to represent. And this reason we created Black Westchester is for brothers that's doing this work behind the scenes that don't get, you don't see they don't see them in the major press. They don't get a lot of publicity, but they're not doing it for that. They're doing it for their community. And,
Absolutely.
That's kind of the reason we put this platform together. So, word up.
Yeah. So appreciate that. So, I just watched the video. We have been doing as much of a blitz down here press wise as we can, and we have been getting some love. There's a few outlets down here that do show us love. Minister Rodney Muhammad of Mosque Number 12 down here, who was, of course, one of the original organizers. And I just been learning a lot of history. I unfortunately did not make it to the original march. I was 20. I was not focused. I'll just say that. You know what I'm saying? And
no, it's understandable.
Yeah. So it means that much more to me. And how we came to this point, Philly Truce, our mission is our stated mission is driving the impact of sustainable Black manhood. And though we started violence interruption and that, it has evolved to where our primary program is called Peace Patrol. We have brothers that go out Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 10:30. And we basically doing community-led patrols on blocks that's been highly impacted by gun violence, right? So that's our day-to-day bread and butter program. And so, also what's going on here in Philly, I mean, it's going on around the nation, but Philly being what Philly is, this is a big countdown to the 250th birthday of the United States, right? And us being the Liberty Bell City and the Declaration. So we get a lot of that, right? So we started in July this thing, a year-long campaign, a year of brotherly action, and really just want to make sure our community gets centered in that narrative, right? We the largest ethnic group in the city, the mayor, the police commissioner, about 2/3 of the city council all come from our community. So even with all that, we know how the American narrative go, and it could be very easily that you see a semi-sesquicentennial, whatever it's called, that don't look like the city. And so getting on that wave and then realizing, oh man, it's the 30th year anniversary of the Million Man March. We just had to kind of put a flag in the ground around that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to do it, bro. Like it was, like I said in the video, to be there as someone 27 and see what I saw, man, like it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing of the love that brothers gave you. And I remember one brother, and I wish I would have thought of this. He had a book. He was just going asking brothers to sign the book.
Wow.
Right. And when I saw him, I signed it. I said, man, I should have did that. Right. Because brothers was just signing the book.
Yeah.
Brothers was just putting their signatures in the book, man. And it was just so crazy. I said, man, he just documented this day
He got a record.
You know, he had a record of it of brothers' signatures, and it was just so much love, man. And they left the mall clean.
Yeah.
You know, the same way you think 2 million people there, and it was the mall was spit clean, bro.
Wow.
You know, and it was just like black men shut the country down.
Yeah.
Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody go to work.
Yeah.
Schools had to close, right?
Yeah.
Look at that unity.
Yeah.
We need that today.
How do we get back there, right?
Exactly.
Listen, man, working on this thing, and I do got to shout out some of the partners down here, Urban League of Greater Philadelphia, Black Voters Matter, of course, the Nation of Islam, Minister Rodney Muhammad gave his blessing. We went there first. And just on and on and on. Many groups have been, many real grassroots guys down here been adding their thing to it. But like was stated, that's the one thing I hear above all else, right? The vibe was beautiful. Never seen it before. Never felt it since. What was the follow up?
Right.
And I've heard many takes on that, right?
Right.
I've heard it was so powerful that it didn't need no follow-up. I've heard we dropped the ball.
No, Gangsta Rap came out, right? So if you look at the time of when it was, there was a follow-up because what the minister did, and I was in the Nation at the time. What the minister did was put it on the local communities and the local organizations.
Gotcha.
And adoptions roles, right?
Yeah.
Mentoring programs roles,
right?
A lot of things in the community started rising. Gangster rap, Gangster rap started getting put, and they started getting the mindset, getting the mindset away, because remember, even at that time, rap music wasn't what it is today. It wasn't what it was in the 2020s, right? You had those groups that talked about unity, talked about empowerment. At that time, all that was happening.
Right. Public Enemy Fight the Power was less than a year old at the time.
Right. And then you got the rappers with the shiny suits and talking about popping bottles and all that craziness came right after that.
Right.
It grew right after that. So our culture started shifting, and the people from the march got older,
right?
Got a little more disconnected,
right?
And then we trying to get it back, but they had the Million Families March, they had all those things, but
Million Youth March,
right. It really just didn't have the impact of the original march.
Right, you're right. So they had the women, then the family, then the youth. And actually, Minister Rodney gave us a book where all 5 marches are condensed. The national agenda, right? So that's something that we
It was a national. You're right. It was a national agenda, right? So it came out with a. We ain't got no other black agenda,
right?
Than what came out of the Million Man March,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And these intelligent Negroes, as I say, they don't even want to address that agenda that came out.
Right.
And we should be holding our elected officials to that agenda.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because this is 2 things that's intended to come out of this celebration that we have, right? So how our thing is set up, it's a week from the day. It's Sunday, October 26th. We call in the community the 3 basic parts of Philly are north, south, and west. And there's many other things you could get in. But so we have a rallying point in each neighborhood that's about a mile from downtown, a place called Love Park. It's across from City Hall, right? So we all rally in our respective neighborhoods, 8 a.m., 9:15. We take this mile walk and we meet up at Love Park, and we put on stage things that are designed to address all of what came out of that and all where people felt the ball was dropped, right? And so, housing, cooperative economics. So we got a brother who has been innovating in that space for each topic. They're going to say they pitch. This is what I do. This is what I know to be effective. Here's what we could do together. Here's what you can do if you need this. And then we have a centralized hub we develop where you could go and take that follow-up action, that next step.
Good.
And that's part of the the onus that Philly Truce is taking on to make sure that happens and to make sure that those referrals or that information get passed along. Because a lot of stuff, you're absolutely right, is happening. And what we struggle with here in Philadelphia is just coordination, right? And we struggle a little bit with of overly competitive for grant dollars and nonprofit opportunities. And so the hope and the spirit is that we can orchestrate and organize a little bit better. And to the elected official point, this is something. And this is the brother I invited on. He might have had a hard time getting on because I had to go through my YouTube and all this. But there's a group here, Philadelphia Reparations Coalition for American Freedmen, right? And these brothers have been lobbying city council endlessly, tirelessly for quite a few years. Finally, this year, a council member, Curtis Jones Jr., put forth a resolution to hold hearings about establishing an Office of Freedmen Affairs here in the city of Philadelphia.
Beautiful,
right?
beautiful.
Right. So I wanted my man here because he's the expert, but that much I know to be accurate. So when we thinking in terms of what can we say, what can we invite our community in to get excited about and involved in that might not have happened 30 years ago. This is kind of the crown jewel development that we're working on. So it's a lot that we feel can happen. A lot of people are excited about it, and we just we're a week away, man. We just gotta keep our foot on the pedal and get there. You know what I mean?
Nah, man, I applaud you and everything you're doing, man. Like I said, we've known each other since the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and again, not to change the subject back onto what we was talking about, at that time I had given up on the direction hip hop was going in.
Wow.
And you was one of the young brothers that gave me hope for the future that this, real talk, like you gave me hope. You was one of them younger dudes that gave me hope that that movement is not over. Like that spirit is still there. Like, and I gotta applaud you for that. So,
thank you, bro. It's been listen, man, it's been a pleasure. And even when Black Westchester started, I mean, I see you go through many evolutions down south, spiritual minded, back up north.
Right.
So you always been a guy in life for me too. Just like, damn, he gets it popping. You know what I mean? Like, go anywhere and start a movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know what I mean? So, enough respect to you, AJ, for real.
No doubt.
It's a beautiful thing to see this still going, and now the new book and the JVC coming back is
that's amazing.
You're a guy in light, no doubt. So, I mean, listen, we looking at 24 years ago now.
Yeah,
we started working together. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing on both sides, bro. Absolutely.
No doubt. So anybody who's watching this that either wants to come down or just find out more about what you're doing or get involved or, help in any way, website, contact, anything like that?
Absolutely. All they got to do is go to phillytruce.com. Philly, PHILLY, Truce, TRUCE.com. You can register if you want to come down. We got another whole team doing events, comedy show, parties, just to set the vibe and try to catch that crowd if they ain't really plugged in. It's a lot of activity going on starting on the 22nd of this week. So go to phillytruce.com. You can get all the information you need. If you can't make it, you want to send a donation, we gladly accept that. And, on the Grand Agent tip, I put up a auction of some vinyl, right? Some limited vinyl.
Okay.
Dug in my personal stash. So it's an auction of some exclusive Grand Agent vinyl up there just to help, offset some of these costs. So you can support like that if you just want me as a rapper. That's there for you too. But it's all at phillytruths.com. Yep.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
No doubt. Anything I didn't ask you that you want the people to know or anything like that?
Everything is covered, man. It's all at phillytruths.com. And just listen, we would love to have some New Yorkers mob down and stretch this thing out, and call your people in Jersey if you got some people that's closer, or in Delaware. I mean, it's been a lot of celebrations this year. I wanted to go hit some of them. I mean, I heard Baltimore been doing it annually since. So they had a big one. Landover, Maryland was yesterday. DC was maybe 2 or 3 days ago. So people want this. People know that we need this. People recognize it was a miraculous moment. And, the spirit of the Million Man March is very much alive. But, as was stated, the counter forces are stronger, right? We got less, our kids got access to things and information and ideologies that make it very hard for us to keep our hand on them. But our thing now is if we can get a couple thousand young brothers and put the germ in them, we can trust that it'll reproduce. So that's all that's our goal for this upcoming week. So I thank you for the platform, brothers.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No doubt. If you want to come back afterwards and talk about the success of it and what the next steps are, or anything, open door for you, bro.
Definitely. I will hit you up.
If you could get the brother to come back, because I really, I've been writing about the whole reparations thing, and I like what the brother's doing with the legislation, and I think, to talk about it and how other communities can replicate that within their community, because it doesn't make it like, I tell people it's going to be hard. We had a black president. Democrats at that time, the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate the first 2 years, and they didn't do anything, even though HR 40 under John Conyers was introduced every year under Obama. Nothing happened. So let's try to look at it from a city level,
a local
level, because all politics is local, right? With those black elected officials that we put in office directly, right? We could get something, right? Exactly. We could get something popping like that in all the little black communities and black cities that we put these elected officials in to have a piece of legislation like that. And if they don't want to do it, then you don't vote for them.
You get some people in office that do want to.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to end on next Sunday is like, I'm gonna have a brother come on and break it down very baby food level.
Exactly.
How close we are and how powerful this is. And I would say 6 or 7 of the 9 people that need the 17 of them in city council, 5 or 6 of them are men that look like us, right? So now, you can see very plainly, people, if we don't get this over the finish line, you need to adjust. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
Right, so that's how we try and put it to the people, and just like plain baby food. Like, look, this is a milestone moment right here. So. Yeah, but I'll send it. I'll send the draft, what they passed down here. I'll send it to AJ.
Because AJ, I ain't have no problem pushing up on elected officials. Like, can y'all pass this or not? So let me know where you stand. Because look what happened in Maryland, man. The dude vetoed the reparations bill. It was asked for a study and apology. So you vetoed the bill as the first. Was he the first black governor? Was he the first black governor in Maryland?
I feel like he might be.
I thought he was, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, so like we got the first black governor in Maryland. They give him a bill. It passed, got on his desk. We want to study it, see how slavery affected black Americans in Maryland, and we want official apology from the state. And this Negro vetoed it, talking about we're beyond that. No, we're not.
Wow. And the study's been done. I mean, you just go collect the info. The studies get done every shit. I'm doing the studies with my little work I'm doing. The facts are there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But see, that's why we really gotta AJ would tell you, I say all the time, you know, some of these Negroes you can't put in office. Yeah. You know, I mean, because we're getting nothing from it.
Yeah.
And if you can't sign and not worry about you running for president, you know, and you can't sign legislation to study reparations, just to study it. We ain't talking about cutting no checks. And to give an apology to Black Americans that ancestors in Maryland was under slavery, bro. I ain't got nothing for you.
And let me the brother's name is Obona, and I'm gonna connect y'all so he could come back, or I'll come back with him. But
yeah, absolutely, man.
They're the way they set this one up is so when Reconstruction started, it was the Freedmen's Bureau, right? So everything was you know, from the 39th Congress, it was all spelled out, right? It was running. Reconstruction got hijacked, right? KKK came, it scared everybody. So the way that they put it forth is like, look, that's on the books federally. It never went off the books. It just ain't being enforced, right? So it ain't even like you're inventing something new. You just recalling what was interrupted, right? So that's the premise which they put forth on. We just resuming Reconstruction.
And that's beautiful,
right? Federally mandated, and these brothers they've been working hard, and I'm gonna send it to AJ when I get off.
Absolutely, man. And I be jabbing cats. And who did that? Republicans. And who fought against it? Democrats.
I don't know where that crisscross happened. I tried to go and look back at some point, and I couldn't figure it out. But hey, listen, man, listen.
See how they trade. See how they play the game on us, bro. It's always when we think we got it, they just turn it around on us.
It's deep. It's very deep.
And one of the things I want to say in closing, and I always say this, and this is to our audience, to anybody who's watching, anybody who's going to watch this on YouTube later. Yo, nobody's going to give us anything that we're not going to fight for. Anything that we've ever got, we had to fight for. At no point in the time of Africans in America did they do something because it was the right thing to do for us. Right. It was until we stood up and fought for our own and demanded change, and some of us died, all the things that happened, but they continued to fight. And we rest on the laurels of what people in the civil rights era did. Yo, dude, like when we're not furthering the movement of what they did. Same thing with the Million Man March. Just 30 years later, after the civil rights, we're not furthering these things. You know, we have great moments. And we need to turn these moments into a movement. There's a difference between a movement and a moment. And we can't let these things be moments. We need to take advantage of them. So, I mean, I preach this all the time. I write this. This is what we got to do. So I'm encouraged by what you're doing. And for everybody who can come down to Philly, if you can, go down and support that. You know what I'm saying? And the whole nine. You know, and everybody's not a frontline person. But you know what? I always say, for those that's not frontline people, you can support with your dollars, with your pocket.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Support the ones that are on the front line. You can always do that as well. So you don't have to be out there, because if that's not how you built.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, maybe you got a government job and you scared to buck the government. I get that. I get that. You know, benefits is hard. You got families to feed and all that. I get that. I do get that.
Yeah. But this one is so big. I mean, this is family reunion level. You know what I mean? You ain't even gotta. You ain't gotta think that hard about this one, man. We got a magical moment that we able to call back. So if you know what I mean, for guys like if you're in my shoes, you wanted to go, you didn't. Come on, this your moment. Bring it back.
Exactly. Thank
you very much, brother.
Thank you, brother.
What you're doing, man. I'm watching from afar.
That's what's up.
Salute, bro.
Salute, brothers.
Yes,
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace. Yeah, man. Yo, Damon. So I met him in the early 2000s. We was working with this label, Groove Attack. It was distributed through the owner of the company was in Germany, some of them countries over there, but they had an office here, and they had a bunch of independent joints. Him, J. Rawls, Jay Sand. There was a Biz record, a Pete Rock record. It was a bunch of independent stuff. And this young brother, man, like I said, you know, why everybody's talking about, you know, bitches and, you know, the things we talk about in hip-hop.
I remember the brother.
You know what I'm saying? He always had, I mean, he could spit, crazy spit, but he always had like a sense of purpose. You know what I'm saying? That, like, you know, the elements of Chuck D's and all of those, you know, he could tell he was inspired by that, and he realized, you know, what he had to do. So I've always been following him, and we've been close ever since. So yeah.
No, man. Listen, I remember the brother, because you said Grand Ancient. I'm like, Grand Ancient. Then I started thinking, I said, yeah, man. Yeah. So
yeah, I worked all his records, man. I worked all those records.
Really?
Yeah, that's how we met. I was doing radio promotion for the label, and you know, I was taking him around to all the college and underground radio stations, you know what I'm saying, to be interviewed and have his joint played, and you know, we was doing all that and rocking and promoting the record and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. So if you check out Black Westchester, I wrote a 2-part series based on an article that Malcolm X wrote in 1964. And I decided to do this. I decided to do this article because I posted a video of Malcolm, and I had some Negroes say that if Malcolm was alive today, I put it up. I said, if Malcolm was alive today, and if he spoke like he spoke in 1964 in the Ballad of the Bullet speech, he will be referred to as MAGA, a Trump supporter.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he would have been called a MAGA lover, or a Trump supporter, because he was critical of the Democratic Party. He was critical of the Democratic leadership and Black people voting for the Democratic Party and not getting anything from it. In 1964, in the Ballad of the Bullet, the speech. And there were some Negroes that said, yeah, he sounds like a MAGA supporter. Then there was a comment that I took that out of context. And I had to respond and let the people know, you know, I was listening to Malcolm since I was 10. And a former member of the Nation of Islam. There's nothing that he said was taken out of context. So, so to that point, I posted what Minister Farrakhan said in what it was, 2020 or 2019. Basically, he said the same thing Malcolm said, but he was talking about Obama and Black people not getting anything for their vote to have 2 terms of a Black president. Now, in that case, I looked up the article of Zionist Logic, and there have been and I'm going to go back to where I really think it's like disrespectful to Black media when me or you, AJ, when we put out these articles to try to inform the public, the first thing they do is send us what the white media says. I think it's disrespectful, especially from Black people. So with the national conversation around Israel and what's going on with Israel. In 1964, Malcolm wrote an article called Zionist Logic, and it was published in a paper in the Middle East. And he talks about how the Zionists, and he said this in 1964, will control the thoughts and the media and how we perceive things and control our politicians. So then I decided to say, hey, man, do they control our politicians? So in the follow-up in part 2, in Zionist Logic, absolutely, they control our politicians. They control our politicians. The entire Congressional Black Caucus gets money from AIPAC. And if you go to AIPAC's website, they brag on how much money they give to the Congressional Black Caucus. And you wonder why we can never get all these Black people to stand up for a bill to study reparations. But yet, our first Black president, Barack Obama, cuts a deal for $8.3 billion a year for 10 years to go to Israel. But when the Democratic Party controlled the House and the Senate and the White House, we couldn't get a bill to study reparations. Take it over for a second, because my wife is going to keep calling me.
Okay, I was on my phone. Yo, yeah, I don't know how to follow that up. Oh boy, I hope y'all enjoying the show. This is for anybody who's watching the show for the first time. This is Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show. We're on every Sunday night, 6 to 8, sometimes extended time after that. We simulcast live on Facebook, YouTube, X, sometimes IG, and anywhere else they let us, LinkedIn, and anywhere else they let us. So we're simulcasting live. Go ahead, Damon.
All right, so I'm back, man. Sorry for the interruption, but she would keep calling me. Anyway.
You now return to your regularly scheduled program. Okay.
Exactly. So we have to understand, and I tell everyone, whether you're Black, white, don't matter, right? Democrat or Republican, don't matter, right? If you want to know who your elected official works for, look who donates to them. That's who they really work for. We have to take the time to really, with our vote, and that's what Malcolm meant, the ballot of the bullet, because before you shoot your bullet, and your bullet is a vote, know who the target is. See, many of us, we vote for people because they're associated with a party, and not look at the individual candidate on their own merit.
A party or organization.
Right.
Or fraternal organization.
Exactly. So you have the Congressional Black Caucus, which is supposed to be, and you could go to Open Secrets. You don't want to believe me? Anybody watching? With anybody that's watching that don't want to believe me because it's coming from Black Westchester, you could go to opensecrets.com, put any Black elected official in there, and it will tell you where they get their money from. So during the 2023-2024 election cycle, Hakeem Jeffries got roughly $866,000 from pro-Israel sources, including AIPAC. Gregory Meeks got $510,000 in pro-Israel donations. Chantel Brown got more than $120,000. Wesley Bell got over $8.5 million from AIPAC and pro-Israel donors. And on AIPAC's website, these are the Negroes that they support. Look at all them Negroes get money from AIPAC. This is straight off their website. They don't work for you. Black people, Black America. Recently, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, put in a bill. Now remember, Israel gets $8.3 billion a year. Billion with a B. Marjorie Taylor Greene put in a piece of legislation to decrease it $500 million. These Negroes voted no. These Negroes voted no. People that you vote for. They don't work for you. Black communities are suffering all over the United States. Even a boost of $500 million to go to poor Black communities and poor white communities. The only people that voted for that decrease was the squad, the usual ones. The rest of the Democrats that you vote for, Black people, voted against decreasing it $500 million. Just $500 million.
That's very interesting what you just said. The only people that voted for it was the squad. It's ironic that AIPAC spent so much money to try to get rid of everybody in the squad. First and foremost, the biggest, loudest one, Jamal Bowman, where they spent more money on that race against him than had been spent in any congressional race to history at the time. So it's just ironic when you start adding up the dots and you start connecting the dots and everything is local. I brought that because everything is local. I wanted to see how people are like, oh, that don't affect us over. No, it does affect us. Right. Your only Black congressman you don't have no more because of that, because he's bucked the system.
And this is what we don't. And this is the crazy thing that we don't understand. And you wonder why our communities look that way. Would 8.5 billion change anything? It will help. Does it come close to what's deserved in reparations for Black Americans? No, but it's a down payment. It's a down payment. And for you Negroes that say people today shouldn't pay for what happened yesterday, no, that's a bill that has been overdue. It's a bill that has been overdue. And the sad thing about it is Black people do not pressure Black elected officials on their position on reparations, even to study it. Even to study it. And this is why we're in the condition that we're in.
So I wanted to pull that up since Martin Luther King in the speech called "I Have a Dream" talked about that and used it how America paid us with a bad check.
Exactly.
And just before he died, he was coming to the government demanding our check, our payment, and that was one of the things that happened just before he died. He was demanding make good on that payment that they were supposed to have paid us.
Exactly, but they flipped his speech. Wasn't nothing about dreaming of holding hands with white folks,
and that wasn't the name of the speech from older people from the era. That was not the name of the speech. They turned Martin Luther King, who was a revolutionary, into a dreamer.
Exactly,
and that's how they teach young kids. He's the dreamer.
So we have to understand, and y'all people vote, but y'all vote for these Black folks. Y'all vote for them. Look, and AIPAC is proud. This is on their website. This is on their website. I took this right off their website. Look at all these Negroes in the Congressional Black Caucus. Look at all these Negroes. Look at that. Hakeem Jeffries, the head Negro in charge of the House.
Joshua said, "You are talking over most Black people's head. Political literacy is running rampant throughout our community in the United States."
Well, we still got to talk about it.
But we have to. But you know what? But we got to keep talking about it and keep talking about it, and hopefully it'll hit a few. You know what I'm saying? Like we worried about changing masses at the time. Sometimes it's basically you just got to get one or two, and you got to get them, and then they got to get one or two, and that's how you make that change. So we gotta keep saying it. But I agree with you. This is probably flying over a lot of people's heads, and people are like, "Yo, how you going after Hakeem? What's wrong with you, Black man?" And all this other stuff, and
Listen, we're not going after Hakeem. We're trying to get you engaged and get you to understand how.
What's the website? I'm sorry that you got it from, so she can look it up.
Oh, it's AIPAC. AIPAC. Hold on, let me bring it up. So I can get it correctly. I'll tell you right now. It's AIPAC.org. Right? And not only that, hey, Kimmy, not only that, you're going to see all the other Democrats that get money from AIPAC. You're going to see all the other Black folks that get money for AIPAC. And let me tell you, if you don't want to take my word for it, let me see if I got this right here. I'm going to let elected officials tell you what they do. If I still got it. I'm not sure if I still got it. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 minute. If I still have it. Do I still have Marjorie Taylor Greene on the joint? I don't think I still have it.
Yeah, but as always, like we gave you the website and you can check, again, we're Black Westchester. We don't take our word for it. Go look for this stuff yourself. We're going to give you the information. We're going to share with you. We did plenty of stories on AIPAC and their influence on, how they affected certain elections and all of that. We've been talking a lot about them. But you can go to the website. What Damon showed you is right off the website. You can see it for yourself. And I'm glad Kemi asked for the website, because too many times a lot of our people don't check. Like, somebody says something and you go ahead and run and go tell that, and you didn't look at it yourself. And then sometimes you sharing bad information that's being filtered into our information. So I'm glad that she asked for that. And then I know that sister's going to look it up. And when she talks to her people, she's going to share that. Not just that she heard it on Black Westchester, she saw it for herself. So
right.
That's important, that we look into stuff and not start repeating everything we hear online without backing it, without no facts to it. That's how so much misinformation. All I do is leak it to one or two people, and y'all will do the rest. It's like, it goes around faster that way than it does with mainstream media.
All right, so I just want to play this. Yeah. Yo, we are talking about the wool being pulled over our heads. It's very serious. Check this out, y'all.
To register under FARA. It's a law.
Just check this out.
I'm not going. I'm going to stay right here. I can cover this really bad because it could take you all the way down the river away. So I'm very interested in this dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I find it fascinating that you're getting asked more and more and more. I've been asked more and more and more. Well, you're a person of very big influence. You've got, no.
Never mind Jews. Yeah. That's all a lie. But
right.
And I see the beatdowns coming. Like, you're not allowed. Like, you have to stay right on this lily pad.
Yes.
And you cannot jump to another neighboring lily pad because it could take you all the way down the river away.
That's
so
right.
I'm very interested in this dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I find it fascinating that you're getting asked more and more and more. I've been asked more and more and more. Well, you're a person of very big influence. You've got a big voice. You've got a large audience. They also take a lot of influencers. They invite tons of influencers.
Many of whom have invited me. Like, we're all going together, and will you come? Like, they.
Hold on.
Oh, God, no. Nobody's on Hamas's side.
But it's been a while now that this has been going on.
Right.
And we're getting more involved with the Iranian bombing and so on.
I'm trying to get to the spot, please, because I got
tons of lobbyists and foreign countries lobbyists that come to Washington, D.C. Pretty much every country has some sort of representative. They have an ambassador they send to Washington. It's naturally in their interest. We can understand that. They also are required to register under FARA. It's a law. They have to register as a foreign agent, a foreign lobbyist. That is required. It's extremely important. Here's the difference with AIPAC. AIPAC is not registered under FARA, under this law that requires anyone coming to lobby a member of Congress or a senator or department of the government and the federal government on behalf of another country. So AIPAC argues, oh, but we're Americans. Yes, they are Americans, but they are coming to Congress and to the federal government asking on behalf of the country of Israel. And I fully agree with you, Megan. We are not against Israel. We are all for their right to defend themselves, just as we are for any Jewish person on campus. Just as I think we could talk about young white males in high school that are constantly getting beat up.
Yeah.
Guess what? They should have a right to defend themselves too, and people should stand up for them as well. We think anybody that is a victim should be able to defend themselves. However, Israel is the only country I know of that has some sort of incredible influence and control over nearly every single one of my colleagues. And it is, I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, I believe it just given the amount of reach out I've had in this position. And I don't vote on anything, And if I had taken money, I could see them really thinking that they had a right to control my speech or, my positions, which is why I never have. Of course, I mean, in what context would I? I don't take advertising from, random people. Like I always say, I have Jenny Sell, whose cosmetics are really nice.
We love good cosmetics.
Yeah, but I can't be bought by a special interest group.
I want to get to the
position. Has
my
member of Congress, their first year in Congress,
here
takes every single that they can. AIPAC takes every single that they can. Freshman member of Congress, their first year in Congress, they take them on a very special trip to Israel in August. August is our recess. It's our month-long district work period. That's
Dems and Republicans, or just Republicans?
They take both of them. Oh. Yes, and they invite pretty much everyone, to my knowledge. So they take them on this trip to Israel. I guess they go on tours all around. I didn't go, so I don't know what they do there. But they take them on tours, like the pictures we've seen recently of the speaker and other members of Congress at the Wailing Wall.
They've all gone.
They've all gone.
See them all.
And they wear the kippah. And even though they're Christians, they're not Jewish, but yet they're adorning Jewish attire, and they're at these Jewish religious sites. Then they also meet with different members of the Israeli government. Now, we got to recognize the Israeli government is secular. This is not the biblical Israel. It is the secular government of Israel. And so they meet with their members of all throughout their government, and the prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, meets with them. And so they've done that trip already this month. The new freshmen and members of our leadership all went, and they did that trip. Here's what else they do. AIPAC takes influencers. They take really big people like you. They want you to come over there. They want to pull you in because they want to pull you on their side. And why is that? Okay, for members of Congress, every single year, annually, Israel receives, and we have to vote on it. It's a yes or no vote, $3.8 billion in funding for Israel. Now, what does that money mean? Well, they'll say, "Oh, well, this is for Israel. It's them to be able to defend themselves. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. Yep. They're constantly under attack. They're surrounded by their enemies who wants to annihilate them."
That's all true.
Sure, we're not arguing those points. However, let's flip over and look at what does this mean? Number one, Israel is doing so well with their economy, and I'm excited for them. This is a big deal. I wish we were doing this good. We're $37 trillion in debt. Israel is less than $400 billion in debt. Less than. If you're an Israeli citizen, you have government-funded health care, and you have government-funded college. So why is America having to give Israel $3.8 billion? If they're doing so great and they're funding healthcare and college, and their government is their economy is doing so well, and their tax revenue is so good that they're less than $400 billion in debt, why is dead broke America having to send $3.8 billion? Well, then they argue back and they go, "Oh, but this helps America's economy." Well, how is that? Tell me how it helps. Okay, well, because we buy money from your defense contractors. Although, guess what? This is really interesting. We give a ton of money to all these foreign countries. And if it's military aid, they're required to purchase weapons from our defense contractors. Except Israel is the only one with an exception. They don't have to buy from our American defense contractors. They can use that money to buy from Israeli defense contractors.
Oh, wow.
So there's a little exception. Just like the same exception that Israel has, that this just came from Judge McFadden. He just had a ruling that you can burn any flag in the United States of America, and including our own American flag, except you can't burn the Israeli flag in America.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way more than I needed. I got the AIPAC stuff, but that's way too long of a video. You lost me, and I'm about to be.
But I needed to make. I needed to make.
Just too, you got to get it smaller into the thing.
Well, I couldn't find it because it just came off. It just came off. But the point I'm making is, black people, y'all have to stop listening to MSNBC and all this other bullshit that goes on here, because they're not telling you how the government is working against us. Against us. Now, they're not only buying your politicians, they're buying your influencers, which we talked about that before. Now they own TikTok. They're about to buy TikTok. BET. Yeah, they're going to own BET. Yeah, Kimmy Poe said, I was into it. I don't know what you talking about, AJ. She said, I don't know what you talking about. But we have to educate ourselves to understand this. So
send her the link.
No,
I was just saying that was just too long, like for the end of the show. Like it was just like I need you to get straight to the point where we needed to be. It was just
I had to find it. But at the end of the day, let me see if I can post it. Let me copy and paste all. She's on what?
Who?
Oh, she's on Facebook. Hold on a second.
Well, send it to me. I can just text it to her.
Yeah. I'll send it to AJ. He'll send it to you, Kimmy. Let me see if it come up. I don't know which one she's in, but so we have to understand that, because that's very serious and why things are not getting done for Black people. And we wonder why things are not getting done. So the goal was the goal was what? The goal was to let people know Marjorie Taylor Greene is telling nothing but the truth. She's telling nothing but the truth. And if y'all didn't get it, seeing all these Black and those are Congressional Black Caucus, you could go on the site and see all your Democrats. George Lattimore's up there too.
Right, and she was saying all her colleagues. She was like beyond
all right.
Again,
Republican and Democrat.
So let me be clear, because I know we're gonna lose some people. So I don't rock with this chick most of the time, but we can't miss a message because of how we feel about the messenger. For this piece of information right here, we need to seriously look into that ourselves, and we need to stop just blowing away. This is the problem with the divisiveness right now, when both parties being so far. You don't want to hear anything when it comes from certain people. This right here proves a lot of stuff that Black Westchester has been saying about AIPAC. And the purpose of that, showing one of them even talking about it, because I showed another video earlier where it was a white congressman. He was talking about all his colleagues have a handler. When it's time to vote on stuff, he said the running joke is, oh, let me check with my handler on how I should vote for that. So sometimes we miss the message because of the messenger. I'm not a fan of hers either, but that does confirm a lot of the stuff we're saying, and you're hearing it from the other side. For those people, and for those people that don't want to hear, they don't believe it when it comes from a black media.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You need to hear a white voice say it. You know what I'm saying? You just heard a white voice say it. So information is knowledge. MSNBC is the liberal Dems propaganda machine. This is why Van Jones is kissing Israel's butt. All righty. Shout out to Kwame Madden.
But yeah, fantastic. But let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100 too. They're only talking about this because of the death of Charlie Kirk. Whether people think about Charlie Kirk what you want, but this is brought those, and now you know what they call them now? Those who talk about Israel's control over the politics, they call them the woke right.
Yeah, we gotta stop letting people co-opt our message and give us misinformation, and we run with that, and we take it for very verbatim, and then we share it in our community. We spread more of this misinformation than anybody else amongst ourselves because we saw it somewhere. And a simple, in this day and age, a simple Google search will show you if this information is true or not. In most cases, it'll tell you that information is not true because blah blah blah. Or this.
Well, look, you can't even trust that because the recent New York Times article about Kiss James omitted all of the information from Sam Antar. And that article was used against what we had.
Right.
From a reader. So you can't even believe the New York Times.
You have to be an independent thinker, period. You should not believe 100% of anything that you read. And again, I'm confident enough in what we write and what we report. I'm telling you, don't believe 100% of anything that comes out of our mouth or that we write. Look it for yourself. A lot of times when we run stuff, we will have the receipts in there. We'll have the documents in there. We'll have the links in there. We'll have the videos in there. So you yourself can see where we got this information. And then you can make your own assessment and judgment and be informed voters at the ballot box or when it's decision-making situations. But we shouldn't be believing anything that comes out of it. That's the problem. Where we become too lazy and we just accept things that are being told to us, and that's how they control our situations in our communities. Point blank,
right?
And with that, I'm out. So I just wanted to be like,
with that, even like you said, even posting Marjorie Taylor Greene, we lost about 8 people. You know what I'm saying? Because they saw her and they got triggered.
Well, I didn't get triggered. I was just saying, I'm saying
some that will see that they will get triggered, and that's how you lose. That's how Black people lose, because we are conditioned to this point not to think outside of the box.
Well, you missed it
again. And if we don't start thinking outside of the box, we're going to continue to lose, and we're going to get hit more than any other ethnic group. Because number one, as brother was saying, we don't even have a national agenda.
That is the problem. That's the problem. Yes, Kevin.
We don't even have a national agenda. You say, well, what's our agenda? Well, whatever the Democrats say. What are you talking about? Whatever the Democrats say.
That's why we have to start doing things on a local level, and we don't have a local agenda. Like, forget about a national agenda. You don't have a local agenda for your community, for how your community is policed and how things should be done in your community. And we got to start there first before we can expect anybody to do some kind of national thing when you don't even have nothing for your own personal local. So the local thing, like we keep saying, local, you can control and you have more control over, and that controls more of your day-to-day. And, that's where we got to start. But I am out at this point because I got something else I got to do real quick. So,
well, we out of here, man.
So this has been another episode of Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday night, 6 to 8, simulcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, and anywhere else they let us stream. And Kemi said they do in Austin. They have a local agenda.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And thanks for everybody watching. Check us out throughout the week. The Black Economy, Wellness Wednesdays, Motivational Thursdays, Friday Morning Cheat Code. And from the publisher's desk will pop up throughout the week, depending on what I feel like making a video about.
And shout out to our guest grant agent from Philly and the work that they're doing down there. You'll see him more, and the brother with the reparations and all that. We're gonna have them come back on and talk about all that. So, yes, sir, I am back, and we about to get
All right. So we out. Peace in the Middle East.
Are you ready to put your brand in front of the people who matter? Black Westchester Magazine is your platform. With over 90,000 monthly website readers and more than 250,000 YouTube viewers every month, we give your business unmatched exposure. From email blasts straight to our subscribers, to video commercials, website promotions, and targeted campaigns, We've got the tools to help you connect, engage, and grow. Whether you're a local business, a national brand, a rising entrepreneur, or just promoting an upcoming event, Black Westchester is where culture, community, and commerce meet. Contact us today or scan the QR code and start building with us. Don't just advertise, be part of the movement, be part of Black Westchester, be Blacktastic. Black got a sweet tooth? Come to Cupcake Cutie Boutique in Mount Vernon, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Fresh homemade cupcakes baked with love. Stop by 8 South 6th Avenue and taste the cuteness today.
We out. Peace.
This is the People Before Politics show, broadcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Hosts Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson bring you the news that impacts our community. Join us for unfiltered, unapologetic coverage of the stories that matter most. Black Westchester Magazine presents The People Before Politics show, the news with the Black point of view.